Hello, and welcome to Billbrick09's The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies Extended Edition review. I'm hoping to be one of the first people to have a review of this film on YouTube, so if I do, well, I guess you're here and you found it, so thanks for tuning in. Before I go any further, let me remind you that this will have tons of spoilers, but, I mean, you've already seen the movie, so it can't spoil a whole lot, and that it is not a complete scene guide. Unfortunately, Peter Jackson didn't tell us what is new in his brief intro, so I will simply be telling you what I noticed, and a more thorough and less rant-filled scene guide and commentary will be coming at a later date. I have seen what some other people saw in the film as well, and it's very similar to what I noticed, so I think I've got just about everything here. And I'm surprised at some of the things that were not in there, so rant in the comments about that once you've heard, though. The film debuted at theaters last night and last night only, but it will be available on digital HD on October 20th, that's this coming Tuesday, and on Blu-ray and DVD on November 17th, quite a while later. I apologize that this video is not uploaded at the normal time of 5:30, but it's been a very busy couple of days, and I'm putting every spare moment I have into the production of this video. Also, I'll try to save most of my opinions until the end and report mostly facts now. So, without further ado, let's get into these new and extended scenes. The first extension I noticed was that the Smaug attack at the beginning seems to be very slightly longer, and when I say slightly I mean by about 10 to 15 seconds. What looked new to me was an extra scene where Smaug crashes into the rooftops and Bard narrowly avoids falling into the lake. I guess that would have been a terrible thing, but it would have delayed him longer. This is hinted at in a TV spot for the extended edition, which I showed in a previous video, and I might not have noticed it if it had not been for the TV spot. The first for sure thing I noticed was a bit more Dol Guldur. But not nearly as much as I was hoping for. We were hoping to see Gandalf's vision of a Palantir and maybe some more battling. No. The orc that starts harassing Gandalf in the theatrical cut goes a bit further and pulls out a knife to chop off the wizard's finger, and the ring of fire along with it. Galadriel exchanges some new dialogue with the orc before smashing him into bits with a burst of magic. Two friends I saw the movie with believe the battle with the ring maze is maybe a bit longer, but I'm not so sure about that. So we'll know once a complete scene guide comes out. The only other extension in this scene is after Gandalf and Radagast arrive back at Rhosgobel. Radagast proceeds to give Gandalf his own staff and tells him to use it wisely, and also that it's a bit temperamental. All in all, no more than a minute and a half's worth in this scene. I didn't notice anything else until the A Thief in the Night scene. Much like the exchange in the mountain cave in An Unexpected Journey, Bilbo and Bofur share some words as Bilbo prepares to take the Arkenstone to Dale. I don't see why this was cut because it adds a much-needed character moment to this dark, action-packed film. The scene lasts about 2 to 3 minutes, I believe. I'm not very good at estimating time lengths, so don't take my word for that. It was certainly the longest extension so far, though. Also, this is the first of numerous extended scenes with Bofur in them, which leads me to kind of want to call this The Hobbit, The Battle of the Five Armies Bofur Edition. Right before Dane arrives, there's a bit more talk about the Arkenstone, and Thranduil teases that if Thorin doesn't want it, perhaps they can sell it to Ecthalion, Denethor's father. And at this time, I believe it's accurate that he would have been the King of Gondor. This scene is only about 20 to 30 seconds longer, though. Now comes the first beefy extension, finally. I was sitting there for a while thinking, wait, am I sure that this is the extended edition? I'm really starting to wonder, until this scene. Dane's arrival is added upon by at least 5 minutes. He exchanges a greeting with Thorin, and some more harsh words with Thranduil. He even calls him an elf princess. Before beginning the battle. Yes, that's right, the werewolves aren't the beginning anymore. The elves and dwarves have an awesome duel, and the dwarvish ballistas, or whatever they are, and the war goats are put to good use. These are the ballistas we saw in the Battle of the Five Armies Lego set that we were all like, wait, where were those in the movie? I don't understand why this was cut. I honestly think that this extended edition was like, the fans are going to be expecting an extended edition, so I just have to cut some stuff out. Because really, there's only one reason this film needed an extended edition, and I'll explain that in a few minutes. Anyway, after a couple minutes of dueling, the worms arrive and the battle proceeds, as normal, except for a few things. Shortly after, however, some extra trolls arrive that were not in the original version, and they destroy those ballistas and smash some goats and stuff. This scene is one of the few long extensions in the film. There are not many. There's only about 2 or 3 beefy extensions in the film. After Thorn recovers from dragon sickness and the company joins the battle, Bifur, Bofur, and Bomber get the spotlight in an epic battle with a troll. Bofur manages to get on the troll's head and steer it towards some orcs, thereby helping the dwarves and elves. This is that troll that we saw a little bit in the theatrical version that's got like his eyes poked out and got chains coming out from him and stuff. And I can't remember if this was all one scene or if it was split up a bit, but it's definitely in there. Bomber also has some more battle antics, but don't worry, it's not nearly as silly as the barrel scene in The Desolation of Smaug. Although that was kind of funny. I'm not one of the people who absolutely hated that. It was slapstick, but I think it was kind of needed. Anyway, there's a bit more in Dale when the women and old men of Lake Town join the battle, but not more than about 20 seconds worth. Now comes the second large extension, probably the longest in fact. Balin and some of the others break out a goat-drawn chariot and begin a ride to Ravenhill. And up to this point, I was like, I don't see why it's rated R yet, but this is definitely why. The wheel axles of the cart are like sharp and they're spinning rapidly, and they manage to draw lots of blood. They like chop legs off, and there's lots of spurts of blood and stuff. I don't really see why it was needed, but like I said, I'm going to try and stick to facts mostly right now. Anyway, they manage to draw lots of blood from trolls, orcs, and wargs. Dwalin operates a cool projectile spinning thingamajig. It's like a primitive machine gun almost. Before some of the dwarves cut the goats loose and ride to Ravenhill themselves, because this troll is like destroying the ice, so the river is like catching up with them. I don't know if you've seen the Polar Express, but it's kind of like that one scene from there, except there's a troll. This could also be known as the Battle of the Five Armies Troll Edition, because almost every new scene has a troll in it, as well as Bofur. Anyway, Balin is left with a goatless cart, but manages to fend for himself, saying, "I'm too old for this." The scene lasts at least 5 minutes, I believe. It's quite an extension. Did you want to see more of Alfred Lickspittle? That's a disgusting name. Well, Peter Jackson knew you would. While Gandalf tries out Radagast's staff for the first time against a troll, he has some troubleshooting issues with the staff as well. Alfred continues his quest for gold. In a bit of a slapstick scene, a coin falls from his corset and triggers a catapult he is unknowingly in. And it shows like the coin like falling slowly and tipping over and activating the catapult. It's kind of silly, but he is fired into the troll's mouth, presumably killing both of them. The scene lasts probably about 2 minutes. So if you wanted to see Alfred die, you get to see that in the extended edition. In one of my favorite new scenes, we get to see Bifur's axe removed from his head. It gets lodged into an orc, and Bomber and Bofur help him get it out with some more slapstickish antics. I'm not sure, but I believe I heard both Bomber and Bifur speak English. At least Bomber, but I think I might have heard Bifur too. It's a great little 30-second to a minute edition, and definitely one of my favorites. The battle at Ravenhill has two brief extensions I noticed. First, Legolas's physics-defying bat scene has a small extension where he goes one step further and manages to cut the heads off of every orc marching up the stairs to Ravenhill. I'll let you be the judge of that. Also, while Legolas and Bolg are fighting, a knife gets lodged in Bolg's hand, but he still manages to keep fighting. Not sure how or why it was cut from the theatrical version, but whatever. When Peter Jackson said there'd be more Beorn, he wasn't lying, but he did stretch the truth a bit. We get to see about 10 more seconds worth of Beorn in bear form fighting the orcs. That's it. Finally, we get to see the funeral of Thorin, Fili, and Kili. Beorn and Radagast are there, but for some reason Tauriel and the others are not. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess. We also quickly see the dwarves hailing their new king, Dane Ironfoot. It's kind of silly because it's like this long funeral scene, and then it's like, "All hail the new king, Dane Ironfoot." The scene lasts probably about 2 minutes or so. Totally should have been in the theatrical version and would have helped the pacing a lot. Guess what? That's it. At least that's all I noticed. Personally, I felt like the 20 minutes went by rather quickly, and I was expecting a few more things that had been hinted at, such as Gandalf having a vision of Smaug and 5 armies in a Palantir, Bilbo recovering the long-term deposit in the Trollshaws, and perhaps a bit more Dol Guldur and such. If I had to be honest, I would say that the Battle of the Five Armies is my least favorite out of all the Hobbit and Lord of the Rings extended editions, and is probably my least favorite of the films, period. The film still struggles with pacing issues, and if the extra Dane footage, funeral, and Bifur's axe incident had been in the theatrical version, I would say that this film didn't even need an extended edition. Are you shocked? The battle was already long enough, and the extra action, while entertaining, was not worth getting the film an R rating in my opinion. If it had been to show Beorn being tortured by the orcs like I thought it would be, I would have said go for it, because it adds to the character. But in this case, I don't really think so. One other observation I made was that unlike the first two extended editions, where a large portion of the extensions were right at the beginning, most of this film's extended scenes were in the middle or towards the end. But as it stands, the action sequence is not... Sorry. The action sequence with the troll and the rated R stuff is not exceptional. It's fun, but... And it has put an unnecessary tarnish upon the Hobbit film's reputation as being good, clean fun. I will still, of course, buy the extended edition for the scenes I have mentioned, the appendices, and in order to fully complete the collection, but it is definitely my least favorite, and is the first that I might not necessarily recommend. My prediction is that I won't be the only one that feels this way, and that this extended edition will have even more mixed reviews than the previous films did. So what did you think? What was your favorite or least favorite edition? Was the bloody cart sequence worth the R rating? Will you be buying the extended edition? Let your voice be heard in the comments below, and be on the lookout for a more concise yet complete scene guide coming in the near future. It's been a great ride seeing these films and commenting on them, and sadly this is the end of the journey. Well, for now at least. Hopefully the Tolkien estate will release the Silmarillion's rights one day. Thanks for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.